This is the good part. My own entrance now.
Equality, Ohio.
Ah! This is the show where Ohio throws down, people. It is Ohio is on Fire. We are live this Tuesday night here at WWSU 106.9 FM, Dane's Right Choice, and I am your lovely host, Daniel Diesel. I'm back. This is the second episode of Season 8. We got a great show for you tonight. Tonight, expected to call in, he is a superstar from the world of MonsterJam. It's just monster trucks that crash over. They smash little cars, and they drive in that dirt field. If you're familiar with MonsterJam, but Dalton Millican, he's going to call close to 9 o'clock hour. He'll be my special guest interview for tonight. It's college radio. That's how we do things around here. So with that, I am Daniel Diesel. Of course, we've got OMVP later on in my final message. We'll talk about some childhood memories of me being a broadcaster and my grandfather helping me. That's later in the show. And tonight, we're continuing the top 120 greatest Ohio songs ever. I did songs 120 through 61 in season 7. I did them bi-weekly, and I had a nice little rotation for them. And within the next month and a half, I will complete the countdown. Tonight, we're doing songs number 60 through 46. And so that count, you will find out what number 1 is in the near future and in this season of Ohio's on Fire. It's a really big countdown of Ohio songs from all sorts of genres. Hope you enjoy it. So anyway, I'm Daniel Diesel, and let me tell you something. There's a lot of bowls going on around here. In football, it's at the end of the season, and there's just too many bowls, I think. With the college football season, there's probably 38 different bowls. I know there's the Yankee Bowl. They literally have a bowl for everything. They have what else? They have the Rose Bowl, Orange Bowl, the Citrus Bowl, the Buffalo Wild Wings Bowl, Bowl. And of course, there's the NFL. They have the Super Bowl, which is this Sunday, and that's the last bowl of the season. And quite frankly, I'm over it. And but you know what? There were some other bowl ideas I caught wind. See, a little mouse came in my ear, and he told me that there were some bowl ideas that were rejected. And I got a live mic. I think I want to share that with you guys right now tonight. But first, we have the Elder Bowl. Players from the 60s are still alive, and they play on teams. So if you played football in the 60s, if you're still alive, you still got your health on you, you play football. Yes, you will suit up, and I guess you would play on you would play, and I guess you get paid. Hopefully, you get some money out of this. It might go to your 401k plan. That'd be nice. Okay, so there's that. Then you got the Bill Cosby Bowl. I better watch out for this one. But women, all the women that have accused Cosby within the last year or so, they would be on teams. And the winning team would get a lifetime supply of Jell-O Pudding Pops. Oh, but remember that commercial? It was like Jell-O Pudding Pops. And so now we got another one. We got the Left Too Early Bowl. And these are superstar players. Well, they're famous, but they kind of fizzled in their pro career really quickly after they were big in college. The Left Too Early Bowl, one team would be coached by Johnny Manziel, and the other would be coached by Marlise Carrette. The winner gets to tell everyone how they are now out of football when they're in the same year they would have been their senior year. Because Johnny Manziel's about out. I think they're about to get rid of him, and I don't think any of the team wants him. And I think this coming year would have been his junior year, and he's out of football. So, sucks to be you, Johnny. All right, now we got the Human Centipede Bowl. Players from the 2 worst teams, they crawl around the whole game. You ever watched the movie The Human Centipede, where This crazy doctor, he sews their lips into the backside of the other person. They crawl around like an experiment. Well, that's the human centipede, and the two worst teams in college or the NFL, they got to do it. They need to be tied to each other and crawl around the whole game and see who wins. The winning team, they get uncenipede. They become human again. So anyway, that'll be cool. Now the next bowl that got rejected, the Hemp Bowl. And of course it was rejected. We were hosted in Colorado or California. The Hemp Bowl is a bad idea because quite frankly you can smoke the field. Alright, enough said. Alright, now we got the Plastic Surgeon Bowl where the implants are used as the footballs. Alright, enough said about that also. No, seriously, you just get some silicone and that works just as well. I'm sure Peyton Manning, he can make some good use from a nice silicone down to his receivers. I think it works just as well as pigskin. So there you go, the Plastic Surgeon Bowl. And now another one, we got the Midlife Crisis Cry Bowl. I've noticed some people, like I got some friends on Facebook and people I've met at other workplaces, they have a midlife crisis. And of course you sometimes see these TV specials, people at work, they hate their life and they can't take it anymore. They just go off. They're middle-aged, they have no direction, and they just go off and cry. This bowl game would be filled with these people. This is their chance to vent. They hate their life. They live a mediocre life they're not satisfied with. You know what you do? You just play this football game and have it out. Alright, so there's an idea. But that was rejected. And now we got a few more coming. We got the Hoverboard Bowl. But that was rejected because Back to the Future was wrong. Because seriously, Back to the Future, we're supposed to have hoverboards by now. We're supposed to have life suits that's supposed to self-dry yourself after you've been in water. Oh yeah, and the Cubs, they're supposed to win the 2015 World Series. Which that could still happen. It is 2015. But they're supposed to defeat the Miami Marlins. We do have a Miami Marlins team, but they play in the National League. So it would be impossible for Miami and Chicago play each other in the World Series because they're in the same league. So what else did they screw up on? Oh yeah, Biff is not an old man. Of course, the guy that played him was Tom Wilson, who by the way is a big supporter of WSU Radio. He was a guest here many years ago on some other show. So wink wink. But Tom Wilson's quite a handsome man. So no, he's not old. He's not a dirty old man in 2015. And what else did that movie get wrong? Yeah, a lot of things. Oh, we don't have flying cars. That's the big thing. Where's my flying Porsche? All I want for my birthday is a flying Porsche. I want the Meghan Trainor CD, and the other thing I want is a flying Porsche. I want a flying Heidi Honda. That's all I want, and it's not happening. Back to the Future. Steven Spielberg needs to work on that. All right, there's another bowl that was rejected. We got the Treadmill Field Bowl. And this whole field is a treadmill. There'd be a safety after every play. It'd be the darndest thing ever. Like everyone try to spike the ball and then you go backwards on this big machine. Yeah, it wouldn't be a very good game to watch from a technical standpoint, but it'd be funny. Everyone would be falling over every second. Kind of like the jungle gyms, you know, when you're a little kid, you got to do that jungle ball set. This would be it. This game would the Treadmill Field Bowl would be this. All the players have their own treadmill, and they couldn't do nothing. So that was rejected, I guess, for a good reason. And people, I got one more idea that was rejected as a bowl. This would have been a good. I think this could have been a good college football game, but it wasn't. It's Tommy Wiseau's The Room Bowl. Yes. Think about it. The audience throws a spoon and shouts insults at all plays that lack continuity. And also the halftime show is Tommy Wiseau calling everyone a little chicken. You're just a chicken, chip, 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 chip. That'd be him doing that for 20 straight minutes. What? Anyway, so I'd love to see that. You know, when Mock at you, he'd be the referee. He'd toss the coin at midfield. I'd love to. You know what? I'd love to see that. You know, whoever was in that movie, they need to get. Because the thing they did actually would toss the football for no reason throughout most of the movie. they need a stage of an event. They need maybe book the Rose Bowl or some stadium, and just have a charity to room game. They should just do it. And Tom, you know what, Tom, I might go for it. If he hears his idea, I think he would like it. So they need to do that. The cast of the room, they need to have a real football game. If not a bowl game, yeah, just call it the Room Bowl. There you go. And we are back with Ohio is on Fire. We are live in the studios, and I am Daniel Diesel. And I think it's time for everyone's favorite segment. It seems like you're the expert, Mark. All right, I had to get it out of the way. All right, but it's time for everyone's favorite segment. It is OMVP. That stands for Ohio's Most Valuable Pedestrian. Ooh, where's my music? There you are. Do, sing along at home. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. All right. I had some people out the hall singing a little bit. That's good. So people still care. Anyway, it's time for MVP. It's an award that's not really an award. It goes to someone or a group of people from the state of Ohio that did something very interesting or did something weird but in a positive way. So that's how MVP works. Of course, there's always an article that's attached to it to explain what happened. And there's a controversy that's coming out of Columbus, Ohio. So I'll read this article. A frequent flyer when it comes to filing libel suits against journalists he feels have encouraged him on his company, Ohio Coal King Bob Murray, is not going down without a fight. In a case that could result in a far-reaching ruling on press freedom and free speech, Murray yesterday asked the Ohio Supreme Court to reverse an appellate court ruling that upheld the dismissal of one of his defamation lawsuits. Murray is contesting a ruling that he was not defamed by the Charging Valley Times when it published a story, column, and editorial cartoon that Murray found unflattering and considered false. The court found that Murray is a public figure and had not demonstrated actual malice. And a knowing and reckless disregard of the truth required to prevail, he and his lawyers disagree. And you know what? I know that now. I wouldn't have known that about him. It's okay if you're a public figure. Anyone can say what they want about you. I learned that from David Baxter in his class. So if you're listening somehow, thanks, buddy. But so I know that now. So yes, the courts unfortunately do have a point that if Murray is a public figure, people can pretty much talk. They can do satire jokes if it's not without malice. If it can be proven that it doesn't have malice, then it's okay. But anyway, let's continue this article. In his filing, Murray denounced the 8th District Court of Appeals for suggesting, in its opinion, that Ohio needs a law to slap down narcissist lawsuits filed to discourage public or press comment on issues of public concern. By taking the unusual step of expressing its policy preference, the court betrayed a bias that permeated its analysis, undermining the public's confidence in receiving a fair day in court, and sustaining this court's review, the filing said. Murray, whose Murray Energy Co. is Ohio's largest coal producer and the nation's largest underground mining company, is a major figure in Ohio Republican politics. He and his political action committee have handed out about $200,000 in donations to GOP players in recent years. Since 2010, he has contributed $9,775 to Supreme Court Chief Marie O'Connor and Lada. There's a bunch of people that got money. And of course, Bob Murray is considered the coal king of Ohio. Coal as in C-O-A-L, lump of coal. So he is the king of that in Ohio. That's what he calls himself. I guess the argument that Murray puts up, it does make a good point. He's speaking about he claims that he's not getting a fair trial because it was about a public subject that relates to the government that might be good as a public interest, but that's being compromised by the fact that he's a public figure. He feels like he didn't get a fair trial because he is a public figure, and I guess what people were saying about him in the paper may influence a public concern, which I guess that could be a good way of looking at it. I don't know if you'll win or not, but I tell you what, Bob Murray, you're the self-proclaimed king of Cole in Ohio. Of course, I call myself the king of independent radio, so maybe you may have a little something in common in that regards. I don't know. I'm probably a lot prettier than you are and more talented. So I'm going to give this to you, Bob Murray, Cole Kane. You are OMVP. And that stands for Ohio's Most Valuable Pedestrian. Ooh, let's play that music again. Do. Yeah, I love it. Actually, you know what? There's a comment. There's someone that's not a big fan of Bob Murray. It's one comment. It's on the same article I read this story from. I won't say her name, but it says, Bob Murray is a disgusting little man who does indeed file numerous frivolous lawsuits when things don't go his way, or how he has paid politicians to make them to go. He stomps his feet and throws tantrums like a toddler. Next, he'll be suing the ODNR for not automatically approving his latest attempts to drill under Ohio's state parks. His industry is becoming less popular every day, and he knows it. He's scared he'll be out of business soon, so he wants to line his purse with as much cash as possible before his mind caves in on him. Ouch! Yeah, this woman liked Bob Murray too much. So, yeah, trouble. If he doesn't get his way, I think trouble might be ahead for this guy. And we are live here at Ohio is on Fire here on WSU 106.9 FM, Dane's Right Choice. And I got my tonight's guest on. He is called in by telephone, but he is a superstar driver from MonsterJam. But we got Dalton Millican. Say hello, Dalton.
Hey, how's it going, y'all?
All right, welcome to the show. So I'm excited that you're here. And I got some questions I got to ask you. Now, what was your inspiration to become a professional driver in your life?
Well, my dad is actually a top fuel drag racer, and I kind of grew up watching him work his way into doing that, and I kind of went a different direction. I got my ATV. I started racing motocross, and I fell in love with dirt and jumps and corners, and I made it as far as, like, I set out to make it on an ATV, and was like, what's the next level? What can I do to top that? And,
yeah,
MonsterJam is it. I mean, and here I am now.
Awesome. Now, for those that want to get into a professional race league like MonsterJam, is there a school you would have to go to get training?
Yeah, they actually sent me to what they just now did this year and released this year is they call it MonsterJam University. We were the first class to go through there.
All right, so where's
It's like a big honor for me to do that.
awesome, man. But now, where's it located at?
It's not really, like, it's one of the things where they tested us and trained us. They don't really just have a direct location. I trained out in Paxton, Illinois, actually.
Okay, well that's very interesting. Now, well, let me ask you more questions about this MonsterJam University. Is how often you guys run camps?
How often do what?
How often do you run camps at MonsterJam University?
We did it quite a few times, and then they had me do it a couple times too. For during the summertime, last summer, about May sometime, we went a handful of times and got prepared to do this, and been working at it all season so far. So it's been going pretty good.
Great. Now, Dalton, throughout your life, what was the worst injuries you ever sustained while riding any vehicle? And then feel free to be as graphic as you possibly can.
The worst, like, injury?
Yeah, any injury, like bike or when you were in MonsterJam.
Let's say, I haven't been hurt on the MonsterJam tour, but, like, leading up to that, like, racing ATVs, I've broken collarbones, shoulders, ankles,
wow.
vertebrae in my back. It's a long road. A lot of trying to train and recover.
Oh, man. So, well, that...
Teeth and noses and all sorts of stuff.
Wow, I can imagine the pain, man. But how do you mentally overcome fear when driving for MonsterJam and doing these shows and do the stunts that you do?
It's just one of the things, like, you get nervous, and that kind of is what fuels the fire. You get them butterfly feelings, and, that's what it's all about. That's why we chase that adrenaline, and we do it for the fans. Seeing them kids smiling and getting up on their feet and getting out of their seats, it's insane, and that's something I get to experience and help, if I can make a kid smile or see a family like cheering and hollering, it's freaking awesome, and all that fear and whatever just goes right out the window. It's so cool.
I imagine it would. That's really awesome. It looks like a cool experience. But now I gotta ask you this. Now, MonsterJam, it is promoted as sports and entertainment. Like the thrill of it is you guys run over these small cars. But let me ask you, as a driver that competes in MonsterJam, what do you look to accomplish when performing an event and over the course of a season?
We're actually looking to go to. They're taking the top 2 spots of this what we call the #MoreMonsterJam tour.
Yeah.
And they take the top 2 spots out of it. We go to World Finals in Las Vegas this year, so we're all battling, competing. We're friends, just hanging out. As soon as the helmets come on, it gets serious, and they're all going for that win and trying to get all the points we can to make it to the World Finals.
The World Finals. All right. Well, good luck to you on that. That sounds like a big honor. Now, let me ask you. You're on Team Blue Thunder. Are you happy to be on the team currently?
I love it. It's a blast. There's a history of awesome drivers come from that team. Guys like Tyler Duke, Paolo Hofstetter, Dan Evans. I mean, there's a Lindsey Wink. I mean, there's so many awesome drivers come from this truck and this team. And we're only in the MonsterJam trucks. We're in the MonsterJam ATVs and speedsters. This event's like nothing MonsterJam's ever done before.
Awesome. Now, who's helping out with Team Blue Thunder this season besides you?
He's my crew chief. He's been a big help. And we also, BKT Towers is a big supporter and stuff like that.
Okay. Now I got a fan question. This comes from Rebecca. She's a fan of yours. She wanted to know, what do you listen to calm yourself down before you perform an event?
I listen to a lot of different stuff. As far as from anything from hip hop to dance music or rock. I'm not big. Just pretty much anything with a good beat. Get my
beat.
My head right. Get me.
Okay.
My blood flowing and everything. Get me excited, kind of.
All right. Well, that's a good question, Rebecca. And now I got one more question for you. Now the event for the Nutter Center, it's the MonsterJam World Tour. It's this Friday and Saturday. We got Friday, January 30th, and then we got Saturday, January 20th. I'm sorry, Friday, January
31st.
Yeah, it's 30th to 31st. I was getting tongue-tied there. Now, what can we expect? Yeah, I know. What can we expect from yourself and other drivers at these events this weekend?
We go as absolutely big as possible. Like I said, we're not holding anything back when we get out there. We put our helmets on and we want to win. And I know that everybody out there wants to win as bad as I do. That's why I try to win it more. And we get after it.
All right.
Like I said, this event that they do. It's like nothing they've ever done. I can't say that. I can't stress that enough, because we not only do we get to tear up MonsterJam trucks, but we're tearing up MonsterJam speedsters and MonsterJam ATVs as well. So it's crazy. It gets pretty intense for sure. There's a lot of bumping and banging going on.
Awesome. Well, Dalton, I want to wish you luck this weekend for the rest of the season. I'm honored that you called. You're a star on the rise in the MonsterJam circuit. So, Dalton, good luck to you, and thanks for calling once again.
I appreciate it, and thank you for having me on, Danny. I really do appreciate it, and I look forward to seeing you come out.
Well, I might try to come out. It sounds like a fun time. I'll try to make the Saturday event. But so take care, Dalton.
Yeah.
All right, bye, man.
You take care, too.
All right. All right, that was Dalton Millican. Unbelievable, yes. He's an amazing guy. You guys can't see what I see at home. There's this big window that when people walk by here, I see everything that they do. I've had people flash me. I've been mooned. I've had people flip me off. I've had people stick their tongue out. I've had joggers. I've had women dance. I've done this over 3 years. I've seen it all, and being a radio DJ is a pretty cool job sometimes. So tonight I had for the first time ever I had joggers. So there you go. And then one of them waved at me also. So that was cool. Anyway, so next week we got Callie Muse, and yeah, I'm on live next Tuesday at 8 p.m. And also you can check me out at Facebook, my show's Facebook page, which is www.facebook.com/OhioIf. And I had to tape my shows for YouTube upload. So this show is live action, which I have them up within a week from after I do the shows. My computer takes a while to load these videos, so it's high. I use good equipment, and that's at www.youtube.com/OhioF, OHIOF. So 5 letters, simple to remember. So subscribe and support college radio and support my career, and hopefully this will get me places one day. I've done over 100 episodes of these, and I've done really cool things so far, and I just keep climbing the ladder. Thanks to the support of the fans and the community, people that want to be on this show. This is amazing what I've done. I got more joggers. But see, if I knew they were coming, I can film them. Anyway, it's now time for final message. I want to share some stories of myself when I was younger and my connection with broadcasting. I would say the first time I got into calling things was probably Cincinnati Reds baseball when I was a little boy. They used to air on Channel 7 back many years ago. I'd say late 80s, early 90s, before Fox Sports took over as the primary home of the Reds. And one of the greats of all time, Joe Nuxall and Marty Brenneman. They began as my 2 favorites. Of course, they used to do commercials for the area. They used to do some for Kroger's, and they did some other commercials too. But they were they're the Hall of Fame duo. If you want to be a great baseball announcer, or you want to be on a great baseball announcing team, those are the 2 to look up to. Best of all time. And I said, and I mean serious too, they're the best ever among all teams of any sport. And I grew up watching them too, so maybe I'm biased. But anyway, but I would watch the game, and then I would just repeat back everything. I'd be like, Barry Larkin, Hal Morris. And who was on a team during the 90s? I think, Chris Sabo. Chris Sabo, he was that guy who wore the goggles, and he was funny. Anyway, one of the things I would do, I would get mundane objects, and I would talk into them. I would make things up, and I would talk about a song that I liked. One song I was really into for the longest time was a song called Don't Worry, Be Happy. And I was like really into it. That was the first mainstream song I really liked. And that was the one by Bobby McFerrin, which I still love that song to this day, but I was really obsessed with that song. Another song I was told I was into, which I have to take their word for it. My family tells me I was into Tony, Tony, Tony. I really like the song It Feels Good, which I like that song too. So I had good taste in music even back then. I would grab anything I could get my hands on, sing songs, and I would broadcast. And now the interesting thing, I wonder if I got this from my grandfather, because at times, when he was being silly, he would do this also. He would grab mundane objects, and he would just talk really silly. He would just make things up at the top of his head. He would use silly names. He would say snake in the grass, like that man's crazy. And what else did he say? He would accuse people of being arrested. Oh, that guy's the biggest piece of garbage that ever walked the face of the planet. And he'd grab a fake microphone, like he'd have his paper. So I don't know if he would. I'm thinking of something different. I think he would grab I think at times when he was younger, he did eventually quit, but he liked to drink like any young American male. He loved to drink his beer, and when he would drink beer, when he would drink enough beer, that's when I think he'd get into the silliness of talking into things, being fun. They're the joggers again. I'm gonna get you on tape this time. All right. Anyway, so there's a marathon here on campus tonight, folks. So yeah, some great stories on that. It'd be hilarious, and he would hold a conversation too. Like someone would be on the other end. Kind of like the old shoe phone game. He would do that. He would literally do that when he was when he'd been partying enough. And what else did I like? Oh yeah, I remember I was really into professional wrestling when I was younger. What my grandparents did, they bought me this tape recorder. You could tape your voice. There was like a microphone built in. You could tape your voice and speak into it. And I would do I did a lot of tapes when I was probably like 8 years old, and I have them in storage somewhere. I haven't heard in years. I would announce the wrestling pay-per-views. I would do voices of the wrestlers, and sometimes I would make up stories. I made up a horror story one time out the top of my head, and I think I made up a Disney story too, I think it was something I read, and I tried to pass it off as something I created. I loved playing with that thing. You would just get it, and then there was. If I had known better, I probably used a new tape every time I got done, because I would tape a bunch of stuff, but then I re-record. Because you only get, I mean, no, I imagine you can give a kid so many tape. And I think there's like 4 tapes of material of mine, which if I had asked my grandparents, there could have been like 12, 14 tapes. I would have known to use them up because I had to tape over a lot of my material. I just loved it. Now, my next bit, now about Marty Brenneman and Joe Nuxhall. I had the opportunity to meet Joe Nuxhall twice. The first time I went to the beach water park one year with some of my family members. This is probably, I think, 2007 I did this. Marty Brenneman and Joe Nuxhall, they were hosting an event. It was actually part of my old job with Kroger's, which I left years ago. It was my first job. They have the national bagging contest, and people from the district of Ohio Kroger's and Indiana Kroger's, they all come to the beach water park, compete in a national bagging contest that lasts. It's a day-long tournament. Well, I think you compete in 4 different rounds. If you win all 4 rounds, you're the champion. And it's real. It really happened. They don't do that anymore, but I was there. It really happened. And I met Marty Brenneman and Joe Nuxhall, and they were great. They waved at you, and that was a thrill. And then I got to meet Joe Nuxhall again a few years later. It was actually right before he died. He threw out the first pitch at the Dayton Dragons game. And me, my mother, and my aunt, and my uncle, I think, was there. My grandfather was there, too. A whole bunch of us went that night. And we saw Joe Nuxhall for the first pitch, and we saw some good baseball. And it stormed. I remember it stormed real badly that night also. Anyway, so my next bit of broadcasting story comes, I guess, with late night television. You know, you have to, when you're a little kid, you got to go to bed sooner. You can't stay up to watch the shows on the weekend. But when it came Friday, I tell you what, the weekends were always my favorite. Because Fridays, that was the night I could watch Jay Leno. That was, David Letterman, depends on what we were in the mood for. And also, he used to be on E, but the Howard Stern show, it used to be syndicated on E. And it would be on all week, but the only time I could watch it would be Friday night. He'd come on at 11, and I loved it. I was like, this man's crazy. It was great. And then I remember after Howard Stern, it was a show called Wild on E that had Brooke Burke. She was the host, so that was fun. I know me and my elementary friends, my junior high friends, we enjoyed watching that for years, talking about how hot the ladies were. So that was great. That came on at midnight after Howard Stern. And then the weekends would come. I think Saturday, the big ones for me, was Saturday Night Live. As always, that's something my family's always enjoyed. My grandpa loved that show, and any catchphrase we would that was interesting. I know Wayne's World was my first big one. I'd be like swing, and I love those movies, the Wayne's World movies. And now years later, like I said, I think everything I've ever enjoyed does come back to broadcasting, which is why my strong suit is to be an entertainer and broadcaster. I know coming up in high school, I loved entertaining my friends. I was a bit of a class clown at times, which is fine. That's what they knew me for. And of course, I just a lot of friends, people. I think that's something kids do. There's kids that dance and act silly, and there's those that's really dialed in from the get-go. That's really super smart. They're the ones that become doctors, which I am not a doctor. I am a radio broadcaster, but that's fine by me, buddy, because that's who I am. That's what I love to do. And what else? Yes, just growing up, I understood the creative process, like the Howard Stern show. I would just learn how that show worked. Thanks to the internet, I would look up staff. I look up, of course, the big one was when Howard Stern went to Sirius XM. He changed the radio game forever when we did that. He's still on that record-breaking contract, and which is great. I mean, he's the man. So they call him. He is the king of all media, and now I don't know how much longer he'll be doing it. He's in his 60s, I believe. And of course, David Letterman, he's going to retire. And Jay Leno, he retired last year. So all the ones that I grew up with are going away. There's a new breed coming. Of course, Steve Colbert is going to be replacing Letterman. So I got my fingers crossed for that. He's funny sometimes on the show he does after Jon Stewart. I was hoping it would be Conan O'Brien because he's my guy. It should have been Conan O'Brien replacing Letterman. I think that was a possibility, and I guess Letterman decided to choose someone else, so that's fine. But the thing is, I want to be a writer. Like, I write these shows, and I want to write movies. I want to write maybe professional radio if I ever do break out of here. I love it here, but I realize this is something I can't do forever. Realistically, I got this semester, and I probably got, if I become a director, that would validate me to be here another year. If I didn't become director, if I feel like I needed to get money, I would probably do this show in the fall, and that'd be it. So that's a time frame. So that's a rough time frame of how much longer I'll be doing this show on WWSU. I'm not saying Ohio's on Fire would end, but I don't know. I don't know which. I've done a bunch with the Ohio's on Fire name. An inspiration had to come to me, and so that's what I'm working with. One of the things that got me depressed from the time I left here my first time was that it didn't lead to anything, and I thought it would because I had the hottest show in the market. My ratings were good most weeks. I was getting good guests, which I still do. I still do a decent audience. I can't measure what people do and what they're interested in. But of course, there's more competition now because in 2010, I think, radio was we had a lot of good shows here in 2010. And don't get me wrong, we have good shows here now, but we had a much bigger crew. We were able to actually sustain a new DJ on, like, for 14 hours a day, and every 2 hours we had a new DJ on. I think most days out of the week, and even Sunday, we had like 8 DJs. We had a much larger roster, and all of these people had a social connects. They tell them, hey, we're on. And so we had a pretty decent audience all the way around back in 2010. And I like the audience I get now. It's a product. It's something I'll remember forever. But there's other competition. There's too many things now. Since in the last 5 years, we've had an increase in internet radio stations that we compete against, and there's a lot more TV stations now. A lot of people switch to DirecTV, and a lot of competition. You got to go. Really, it's about making it to the big time, making money that you did. It's an idea to make a lot of money at doing something that you love. I was upset because I didn't think that was ever going to happen. I thought I would get signed after I left the first time, or I would get an internship somewhere. I was very unlucky. I was passed over, and you just stop and think what this life is all about. And I would love to do something like this or something similar for the rest of my life. And of course, you got to be able to make the money to do it. I believe I can do it. So, because if I'm not a broadcaster, I don't know what else I would be. Because I've done a lot of regular day jobs, as they would call it, regular day jobs, and it's a place. I know. Not to knock on it. It's a lot. People get their start at places like these. People that are out of high school, or it's people really love actually doing it. But it's just other than that, it's rough business. Having a day job is just rough. It's rough. You got to do grunt work. You can't use any creativity. You just got to pick up boxes, pick up trash, listen to customers complain. I did that for a while. I'm sure most of us have done it. Unless you're Jay-Z and Beyonce's kid, you've had a job that you didn't like at one point. So broadcasting is it. I'm holding on tight, and I'm making decisions I wouldn't have made before. I knew my grandpa and my grandma knew I love being a broadcaster. It's something I've always wanted to do. And I need a network. I'm trying to network with people that I've made friends with years ago, people now, and people in the area. And if I don't make it as a broadcaster, I guess I feel like I would have failed at life, or at least in the media. If I don't get a job entertaining, putting smiles on people's faces, I would have failed at life. Either I've really screwed up, or I've really depressed, or I don't know. Hopefully, like I said, I got to think positive. I will make my broadcasting dreams come true, and WWSU is helping with that. And I know my grandparents are up above helping me with that also. So with that, that's it. I'm going to play the countdown. We got The Hesitations, Love Is Everywhere. That's going to be at number 49. Number 48, the Levert Brothers with Baby Hold On To Me. And then we got Respectable. We got The Outsiders with Respectable. And then I'm claiming him. This was from his first album way back in 1950s. He recorded a song in Cleveland, Ohio. I'm talking about Dean Martin. That's Amore. So I'm going to claim it for this countdown. He made this in Ohio. That's Amore is a classic, and it was his first album. So that's going to be at number 46. And check me out next Tuesday night. Until then, Ohio. That's the way it is.